Welcome to Bolta Indian. We bring you the daily dose of quirky and interesting facts about the world around you. Today we will be looking at 7 factors which are likely to shape India's future. India is considered to be a cultural and spiritual superpower in the world, and rightly so. To the west, India is a country with rich culture and religion, a country which produces geeks and techies, a country of call centers, a country which is dirty and has poor and malnourished population, and maybe to some, still a country which has the best rope trick, but India is a country which is much more than that. It is a country which is very young and has a long way to go in modern era. It is a country which not only has a lengthy and beautiful past but also a very bright and powerful future. So today we try to bring you 7 factors which will definitely shape India's future. Number 1. Mineral resources and manufacturing. India has the 4th largest mining resources and industry in the world. The mining industry of India accounts for 25% of the total GDP. Mining and industrial metal ore were valued at $141 billion. This is reflected in the production of various metals done by India. India is the 2nd largest crude steel producer, 3rd largest producer of iron ore, 4th largest reserves of coal are in India, 5th largest producer of bauxite mineral. India provides 12% of global thorium, over 60% of global mica. India is the largest producer of manganese ore and sheet mica. In terms of manufacturing, India is also the world's number 1 two-wheeler producer and the 4th largest car manufacturer. It is the 5th largest country in terms of overall manufacturing processes. Modi's Make in India policy in the past 3 years has shifted some focus on this sector, but there is much more which needs to be done. India has become an attractive hub for foreign investment due to cheap skilled labor and recent pro-business policies. Several mobile phone, automobile brands, pharmaceutical companies, and heavy machinery producing companies have shifted focus to India. India has the potential to reach $1 trillion by 2015 in the manufacturing processes. By the next year, India is almost certain to be featured in the top 3 growth economies and manufacturing destinations of the world. How India progresses here will shape the future in terms of the challenge they face of providing employment to its ever-growing working population, and also shift focus from being an import-dependent country and maybe make its balance of payments from deficit to positive in the coming years. Number 2. Population. India has the 2nd largest population in the world and is slated to take over China in 2020. This Indian population is the youngest in the world and thus presents a huge opportunity for India to grow. But this is also where the problem lies. With close to 12.6 million individuals joining the workforce annually, the job creation has to match this growth, which at the moment is a big challenge for the Indian government. That is not all. The population is still growing at a very high rate, which could lead to negating the positives India is witnessing at the moment due to cheap employable labor. Population growth could burden the economy so much that the drawbacks would heavily outnumber the advantages. The Indian government has 2 jobs at hand. Firstly, to provide for the population of the country at the moment, and secondly, control the spurt of population, which could be a big problem for India if control measures are not put in place as soon as possible. Population is something which is seen as the biggest hindrance in the future path of being a superpower for India. And the problem is that it is not being addressed by neither the government nor the intellectuals of the country as much as it should be. Number 3. Agriculture and livestock. Population is the reason that India's agriculture game has to be at its best. Agriculture practices in India have been traced back to the Indus Valley civilization. The country is ranked as the 2nd highest producer of farm products across the globe. India has the world's largest net crop area. India is the largest producer of milk, cotton, ginger, bananas, rice, tea, lemon, beans, mangoes, papaya, to name a few. India is the 5th largest exporter of agriculture exports across the globe. The problem today is that the agriculture practices in India are still very remote. The Indian government has a huge opportunity curve in agriculture. Technological advances, hybrid seeds, crop financing, better irrigation system, proper storage facilities are some things which the government could work towards, and according to experts, the productivity can be increased by 100% with the same amount of agricultural land if things are managed better. India is also one of those countries where the loss of agriculture produce due to pilferage and spoilage is the highest. This is due to the absence of proper channels and storage facilities for the farmers, and these should be the first things the government should focus on. India is also known around the world for its reverence of the animals, especially the cow. It is a well known fact that India has the highest percentage of vegetarians in the world. The culture and religion of the country have made the livestock an essential part of the rural lifestyle of Indians. So it does not come as a surprise that India has the largest livestock population in the world, which includes cows, buffaloes, goats, pigs, horses, and ponies. India is the largest producer of milk in the world. It is the second largest egg producer in the world. India is also the fourth largest producer and exporter of leather. It would come as a surprise to many that India is also the largest exporter of beef across the world. Same challenges as agriculture face livestock as well. And India needs to look at this to become a major superpower. Number 4. Democracy, diversity, and people rights. India is the world's largest democracy. Everything about Indian general elections is colossal. This time, about 900 million people above the age of 18 cast their ballots at 1 million polling stations. The number of voters is bigger than the population of Europe and Australia combined. Indians are enthusiastic voters. The turnout in this year's general election was more than 65%. Being such a large country with a huge population, democracy and people rights will play a big role in the future growth of the country. Religion in India is characterized by a diversity of religious beliefs and practices. India is a secular state with no state religion. 79.8% of the population of India practices Hinduism, 14.2% Islam, 2.3% Christianity, and 1.7% Sikhism. Zoroastrianism and Judaism, Buddhism also have an ancient history in India. Hinduism is the largest practiced religion in India, and Mahakumbh Mela, considered the world's largest congregation of religious pilgrims, takes place in Prayagraj in India. 120 million people were estimated to have made the pilgrimage in the last year's event. In comparison, the Arabian pilgrimage, Iraq, the second largest religious gathering in the world, sees 20 million pilgrims, 100 million less than the Kumbh Mela. India has to hold on to its diversity and have equal rights for everyone in the future to perform to the best of its potential. Number 5. Environment. Environment is the next big question which the world is going to have to answer. India is no different. 22 of the world's most polluted cities are in India. India is a developing country, and this problem is going to be one of the biggest challenges that India faces. India is one of the most forest-rich countries in the world. There are major concerns regarding environment in India. 80% sewage is untreated, 10.4 million hectare forest is destroyed every year, glaciers of India are fast depleting due to the rise in temperatures, air quality index is one of the worst in the world, which in turn is leading to numerous diseases in children and elderly. Water shortage and pollution is a big problem as well. India was one of the first countries to work towards wildlife conservation. Project Tiger was launched in the 70s, and the tiger population, which was on the verge of extinction in the 80s, is now rising and prospering due to these efforts. This is indeed something which the world can learn from India. The lions of India have also seen a gradual increase in the past few years. India needs to conserve the environment and wildlife for its future generations so that the development is matched by the means to sustain the development. But the challenge for the government will be to work towards an environment conservation policy without letting it affect the growth of the nation, which would need a new and innovative approach from them. Number 6. Sustained growth of the technology, IT and service industry. India is slowly but steadily incorporating technology in day-to-day life, and this is established by the fact that India today has the second largest internet users and mobile users in the world. India is also a major IT software player, and in 2018, software exports of India stood close to $115 billion. The largest clients being the US, UK and Singapore. Tata Consultancy Services and Infosys are two of the 10 largest IT companies in the world, and both are Indian. Just to give you an understanding of the IT craze in India, we just need to look at the current serving CEOs of the largest IT companies across the globe. Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, Shantanu Narayan, CEO of Adobe Systems, Ajay Pal Singh Banga, CEO of MasterCard, are a few Indians to name a few. If this was not enough, look at a few stats about the Silicon Valley and Indians and you will understand what they have been able to achieve. Indian Space Research Organization has recently become a trendsetter in the space program with reliable and cost-effective operations they have carried out in the recent past. The Mangalyaan launch was one such event which left the world surprised by the way Earth's gravity was used to launch a satellite successfully at a much reduced cost to Mars. ISRO also created a world record by launching 104 satellites into orbit with one single launch. These are industries in which India could be a pioneer in the coming years, and it is certain that the Indian dream is going to get bigger with the coming years. Number 7. Energy. India is the fourth largest energy consumer in the world. Its energy needs continue to increase. National energy shortage and an inadequate energy infrastructure could perpetuate national energy poverty. India relies heavily on imports to meet growing demands for fuel and gas. The shortage of electricity has had an adverse effect on the industrial growth. While India has undertaken various programs and initiatives to address the energy poverty, they have been faced with logistical and inadequate implementation locally. Many analysts have pointed to developing solar and nuclear capabilities as essential. The government is looking at alternatives and a huge drive to adopt solar energy was started by them, but the severity of the problem is such that more actions need to be taken and a swift process has to be put in place to match energy supply with the demand. These were the 7 major issues and factors which India has to keep an eye on in the future to perform to the best of its capabilities. These 7 factors have the potential to make or break the future of India. Only time will tell how well India does this. Thank you for your time, and it's a wrap from Bolta Indian.